Hello, guys, and welcome to Stories of Hope. I'm here today with Ivy, and she's going to share a bit of her story and how she's found hope with chronic illness. So, I met Ivy at Asbury. We both have the same major, and the last semester we had some classes together, and I see her around at our mission center as well. And so, it's just been really great to get to know her a little bit, and I'm excited to hear more of her story and to share that with you all today. So, Ivy, can you share a little bit about your story and your journey with chronic illness?
Yeah. So my name is Ivy again. I am 20, and last year, so when I was 19, I was a freshman in college. I was diagnosed with lupus, and I have systemic lupus. So there's different types of lupus, and this one affects like my entire, internal organs and processes. There's types of lupus that only like affect your skin. So that's kind of the difference between those. But I was diagnosed when I was a freshman, and I started waking up in the morning and I had finger pain like in my joints. And I remember I texted my mom and I was like, why do my fingers hurt? My mom's a nurse and she was like, well, probably because you've been typing a lot. And I was like, okay. But I have been typing my whole life because I've been in school my whole life, so that didn't make sense. And so I just kind of went with it, and eventually, like, I'd wake up and it would be my fingers and then my knuckles and my wrist, and then the next morning it'd also be my elbows and my shoulders. So it was like slowly progressing to all of my joints. And then I woke up and my feet were swollen, and so I got on WebMD, a terrible place to go.
Wow.
And so then I looked it up and it said that that could be the first signs of lupus. And the reason I kind of jumped on that is because I have 7 other people in my family who have lupus. And so I was like, oh, this like makes sense for my family history. So I went to the doctor, got a couple tests done, and it was kind of, lupus is kind of the thing that you go to as the last resort because it mimics a bunch of other illnesses. So you have to rule out everything before you can say that it's lupus. But because I have such a strong family history of it, I was able to get a diagnosis within like, I think 4 months, which is really unheard of in the chronic illness community. It usually takes like years. So that was a big blessing. But yeah, I got my official diagnosis in April. So my symptoms started in February. I got my diagnosis in April. And I think like a week after I got my diagnosis, I ended up in the hospital for a week. And I had been feeling weak and just really tired and fatigued. And I woke up one day and I went to the bathroom and I passed out. So we went to the ER, and my blood pressure was like super low, and they did some blood work, and basically I didn't have any white blood cells left. So I didn't have much of an immune system. So they admitted me to the hospital for a week, and I got tested for everything on the face of the planet Earth. And luckily everything came back negative. I was even tested for leukemia because it was so strong that they thought that I possibly had cancer on top of my lupus, because we already knew I had lupus, but they thought there was another issue. But no, it was just lupus. She just sucked. Yeah. So, but recently I've been doing pretty good. It's been a year since my diagnosis. I think the hardest thing right now is that when I was in the hospital, they put me on IV steroids. And so I've been on prednisone for a year now, and it's awful. And so dealing with prednisone and trying to get off that medication has probably been the hardest thing for me, like mentally, emotionally, physically. So I feel really good right now, but I'm still dealing with the effects of prednisone and just how that has changed like my confidence as well.
What does the medicine do?
Prednisone, so it is a man-made steroid. It's different from like the steroids that like athletes would take. And but basically what it does is you get really reliant on it, and because it starts creating steroids that your body can't create, and so then your body will kind of stop creating those like at all. So you have to wean off of them. Excuse me. So prednisone has a bunch of different side effects, and I've been on high milligrams of prednisone for a year, which is a really long time to be on prednisone. So I've kind of had them all. I think the worst ones I dealt with is you get this thing called moon face, where your face just swells up, and so does the rest of your body. It's just like water weight. And so your face is super swollen. I got really bad acne from prednisone. I haven't really struggled with acne a whole lot in my life, but it got really bad with prednisone. And I also used to sweat like an insane amount. Like I would sweat through my clothes every day. So that just like, it felt so gross all the time. I hated going out. So last summer, because of like, I just felt so different. I would look in the mirror and I wouldn't recognize myself. And that just did so much damage to my confidence. And so I just did not ever want to leave the house last summer. I just wanted to stay inside and like not take pictures. And also my hair started falling out. So I just was really losing any sense of like my physical self. And so that has been so hard on my confidence, because with chronic illness, you already feel so out of control. But then you get a medicine that makes you feel even more out of control. And it's like, you have to learn to appreciate what it's doing for you, because prednisone really did save my life. But at the same time, it is doing all these things in my life. It doesn't feel like it's my life anymore. So that was really hard to balance.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
How have you learned to regain some of that confidence over this past year?
Oh, that's a hard question. I think that I really had to take a step back and reevaluate the things about me that make me me.
Yeah.
I think for a long time, I can put who I am in how I look, because that's just kind of what our society teaches us to do. But I had to take a step back and be like, no matter how my illness or my medications change me, what are the things that stay constant? So like overall, I think that I'm a really fun person, and I'm funny, and like I really love people, and I love like weird children's movies. Like there's just something about me that like lupus and prednisone can't change. And so those are the things that I've had to learn to hold on to. But I also think that with prednisone, like understanding that my acne or my swelling or like my sweating, whatever gross thing it might be, that doesn't make me any less of a person or any less of a desirable person. It just makes me a person with side effects, and that's just what it is. But I will say, due to prednisone and then I'm on another medication that is often used to treat cancer. It's like an infusion. It's not chemo, but it's kind of similar. It changed my hair texture. So my hair has always been a little bit naturally curly, but now because of my medication, it's like super curly. And that's something that I've always wanted, curly hair, like since I was little. I thought it was so cute. So my medication has done some things that make me feel like different, but in a good way. So like I really enjoy my curly hair now, and like learning to take care of it, and just how to keep up with it. And so there are some things about it that there's a newness to it that is refreshing.
That's awesome. Wow.
Yeah.
Cool. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
How have you found encouragement and strength in this year, and over this process of learning how to live with lupus and adapt your lifestyle and that kind of thing?
Yeah. I think the biggest way that I think the thing I struggled with most was hope. So whenever I got out of the hospital, being in the hospital for some reason is like the most hopeless place in the earth that I've ever experienced. So when I got out of it, I just didn't have hope for a good future anymore. I just kind of, I was in a bad place. I was like, this is what my life is going to be forever. That's what it felt like. And it sounds really dramatic, but that genuinely is what it felt like. But I think the biggest thing that gave me hope was seeing other people who have like specifically lupus or any other chronic illness thriving. So my mom works, she's a nurse again, and she works really closely with this one lady on her floor who is like in her late 20s, and she has lupus, and she was diagnosed with lupus about the same time I was. And hers, ironically, lupus presents itself really differently in almost everyone, but her symptoms and my symptoms like really matched up for some reason. And she's doing great now. She's like off most of her medication. She is married. She has 2 adorable dogs, and she's working full time as a nurse. And so that was just really encouraging. And I remember when I got out of the hospital, she came over to my house and she brought me a gift bag full of like all the things that I would need, because she was like, I've been there before. So and then the same thing with just online chronic illness community, just being able to see people like who are parents now and they have children, or who are working full time, or maybe even those who aren't working full time, or they aren't like successful by the standards of society, but they still are loving, still doing things that they did before they were diagnosed. I think just seeing other people thrive has been so encouraging to me.
Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah, just learning how to find the right people that are encouraging to you and can remind you that this doesn't define your life and your potential. And yeah, there might be some limitations, but there's still a lot of opportunities out there for you, and you don't have to be held back necessarily by this illness. That's super cool.
Yes.
Yeah, can you tell me about a time when God has helped you through this process, either physically or emotionally or mentally?
Yeah. I think there's so many times. There's 2 times that really stuck out to me. The first one was, I was telling you earlier about one of the treatments that I'm on. And so, like I said, it's usually to treat cancer. And so my doctor, basically what it does is it helps with your white blood cell count, which is my biggest problem. And my doctor, it's a really expensive treatment. And so he was kind of nervous that insurance wouldn't cover it. And basically, if insurance wouldn't cover it, like there was no way I was going to be able to pay for it. And but he and his assistants and the people that he worked with, they like constantly called my insurance company. And they were like, she really needs this. Like seriously, she really needs this. And they were just such good advocates for me. And it was really ironic because there was one day that I had gone in for an appointment, and I was talking to my doctor, and he was like, we haven't heard back from the insurance company yet. And like right after he had said that, his assistant comes in, and there's like a group of people standing with her, and she's like, we just heard back from the insurance. And we were like, what did they say? And they were like, they're gonna cover it. And my like entire staff there, they all like started clapping and like shouting. Like it was so cute. They're all celebrating with me. And so that was just really cool to see, not only that it was all paid for, but also that there were people who were like for me like so hard. That was really sweet. And then I think right now, since we're in college, my calling right now is just like to be a good student. And I remember whenever I was diagnosed with lupus, I had just started practicing Sabbath because I hadn't done that in my life. So like a full 24 hours. And I remember coming back in August and being like, I don't know if I can do that anymore because I have so much work, and with lupus, like with brain fog and just fatigue, it's so much harder to get things done, which I know that you know about, Heather.
Yeah.
So I was like, I don't know if I can take a full 24 hours of rest anymore because I'm going to need that time to get homework done. But I just felt the Lord being like, no, like you need this, you need to stay on this. I'm asking you to do this. And so I would commit to it, even though it was so hard for me to put away my homework and to be like, I did and half done. But this past semester, and then like last semester as well, while practicing Sabbath, I have received like some of my best grades in college, and I have like received so much good feedback from my professors, and I've had so much more motivation to get my work done. And so I've just seen the Lord still, like I said earlier, there are still things in my life that I can practice even with my illness that I practiced before I was diagnosed. And the Lord has just been so faithful to fulfill those things for me. So that was just really cool because I really didn't think that I would do well. But yeah, I ended up doing really well. So that's really exciting.
That's amazing. Yeah, Sabbath is so important for us to live into who we're supposed to be. I don't know. I know that's been a big thing for me, especially with like anxiety and all of that. I used to get so caught up in my schoolwork all the time, and I could never get away from it. And so I think for me, Sabbath has been so good as saying, okay, well, I just don't even have to think about it today. And it helped me to kind of get into a different mindset for one day a week where I am able to focus and really be present with the people that I'm with and not have to think about, oh gosh, I have to go do all of these different tasks and all of this different homework. And yeah, I don't know. It's been really nice for me, especially just to have that
Mhm.
extra that space and that time to spend and be more present with God and with others. And yeah,
Yeah.
it's so good.
Yes.
Yeah, and much needed in our society because there's just so many distractions and so many things going on all the time. Just to have a little bit of stepping away is really important. So
Yes.
cool. So what is one thing that you would like for people who are social distancing in this time to know?
Mm. I think one thing that I had to come to terms with in the past year with all the changes in my body is with autoimmune diseases, it's really awkward because it's like your own body attacking itself. So
Yeah.
it's really easy to feel like betrayed by your body because it's doing all these things to you and it's like, you're supposed to be caring about me. But I read this one thing where basically what my immune system is doing is they use the term it's overprotective. So it's like
Okay.
so eager to protect me that it accidentally attacks itself because it just wants me to be safe. Um, and so I had to come to the terms that my body does care about me and my body is doing good for me. It just is messing up and that's okay. And so I think with social distancing and all of these new rules that are going to be put in place, it just goes to show that there is a community that cares about you and they want you healthy. So all of these rules that are so hard to live with, and it may not ever be back to normal like we know it, but it just goes to show that there are so many people who want you to be healthy that they need you to practice these things. And so even though life is going to seem so much more different and it's going to suck sometimes and it's okay to admit that it sucks, it's really cool to know that there is like a government and there are like people in your life, your family, your friends, whoever enforce these rules with you. They care about you and they want you healthy and they're protecting you. So I think it's really hard to practice gratitude with that because you do feel betrayed and you feel hurt, and things feel so out of control. But if there is one thing to be grateful for, it's that there are people and who care about you, and that's why they enforce these things. And like if you have a chronic illness, your body does care about you and it does want good for you. It just is messing up, and it doesn't mean to. I don't think so. Yeah.
Wow. Thank you so much for sharing. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a huge message in this time because it can feel like this is all against us in a way. Oh, we have all of these limitations. Oh, well, we're not being free or we're not getting to do what we want to do and we shouldn't have to do this. But just remembering that, hey, they're doing this because they want to protect us. They want to keep us safe. And so even practicing gratitude for that, like thanking our leaders, just in prayer, or we could even send letters and things to encourage people. But yeah, just always remembering, hey, like we're all in this together and we're all working for a common goal and to protect one another. So yeah.
Yes.
Thank you. Yeah, so all right, everyone. Thank you so much for watching this video. And thank you, Ivy, for sharing with us today. So we will be having another video next week if you would like to keep watching. So I hope that you all have a blessed week and that you continue to find hope and encouragement in the everyday. Thank you.